to increase your chances of making it out alive. Understanding the basics can make all the difference. From understanding the immediate effects of a nuclear explosion to knowing where to find the best shelter, we've got you covered. Ready? Let's do this. Together, we can face the unthinkable and come out stronger. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Nuclear bombs are terrifying. They are one of the most destructive forces known to humanity. They unleash a level of energy that's hard to wrap your head around. The sheer power released in a split second can obliterate entire cities. But understanding the basic science behind a nuclear explosion can help you react quickly and effectively. Knowledge is your first line of defense. It all starts with that blinding flash of light. This initial flash is brighter than the sun and can cause temporary blindness. This isn't your everyday light bulb. It's a burst of pure energy, a signal that something catastrophic is happening. This is pure energy, released in an instant. The energy released is equivalent to thousands of tons of TNT. If you're close enough to see this, you're in the danger zone. Next comes the heat, which is almost unimaginable. Imagine the sun's heat, but magnified thousands of times. This heat can ignite anything flammable in its path. This heat wave travels at the speed of light, so there's no outrunning it. It moves faster than anything you can perceive. It can cause severe burns in seconds, even at a distance. The heat can melt skin and cause third-degree burns almost instantly. Then comes the boom, the shock wave. This is the force of the explosion expanding outward. This is like a giant, invisible fist slamming into everything in its path. The shockwave can travel for miles, causing widespread destruction. It can level buildings, shatter windows, and toss cars around like toys. The force is so powerful that it can flatten entire neighborhoods. But the danger doesn't end there. The immediate destruction is just the beginning. In the hours and days after the explosion, radioactive fallout will start to rain down. These particles are deadly and can contaminate everything they touch. This invisible threat is what makes nuclear explosions so insidious. Radiation can cause long-term health effects, including cancer and genetic damage. We'll talk more about how to protect yourself from fallout later on. Knowing how to take shelter and minimize exposure is crucial. For now, just remember, flash, heat, blast, fallout. These are the stages of a nuclear explosion you need to be aware of. This is the deadly sequence you need to be prepared for. Understanding these stages can help you take the necessary steps to protect yourself and your loved ones. Remember that whole every second counts thing? Nowhere is that more true than in those first few moments after a nuclear blast. Your first priority is to put as much distance and as much material between you and the explosion as possible. The good news is, you don't need a fancy underground bunker to survive. Even a simple ditch can provide some protection from the initial blast and heat. Ideally, you want something sturdy, with thick walls and a roof over your head. Think basement, parking garage, or even a windowless interior room of a building. The key is to get underground or as close to the center of a large structure as you can. Now let's talk about what makes a good shelter. You want something that can block radiation. Think thick concrete, brick, or even packed earth. Windows won't cut it, they'll shatter from the blast. Don't be afraid to get creative. A culvert under a road, a storm drain, even a crawl space under a house can offer some protection in a pinch. Remember, something is always better than nothing. Section 4, 48 hours underground, making the most of your shelter time. You've found your shelter. You're safe from the initial blast. Now what? The next 24 to 48 hours are crucial. This is when the radioactive fallout is at its most dangerous. The good news is, fallout decays rapidly. Staying sheltered for just 2 days can dramatically reduce your exposure. Think of it like camping, but underground. Make sure you have enough water. A gallon per person per day is ideal. If you have food on hand, great. If not, don't worry too much. You can survive a few days without food. Keep your radio tuned to a local station for updates. This will be your lifeline to the outside world. They'll let you know when it's safe to come out and what areas to avoid. Most importantly, stay calm. Panicking won't help anyone. Use this time to rest, conserve energy, and mentally prepare yourself for what's next. Remember, you've survived the worst of it. Now it's about waiting it out and following the instructions of authorities. Section 5, emerging from the ashes, testing for safety and avoiding fallout. After 48 hours, the danger isn't completely gone, but the levels of radiation will have dropped significantly. This is a crucial period where the immediate threat starts to diminish, but caution is still paramount. The radiation levels, while lower, can still pose serious health risks if proper precautions are not taken. Now it's time to carefully assess the situation outside. Take slow, deliberate steps and be mindful of your surroundings. The landscape may have changed dramatically and new hazards could be present. Look for signs of structural damage, unstable debris, and other potential dangers. Your primary goal is to avoid contact with any fallout dust. This dust can cling to surfaces and linger in the air, making it a persistent threat. It's important to recognize that even small amounts of fallout can be harmful if they come into contact with your skin or are inhaled. This means no touching surfaces, no breathing in the air directly, and definitely no eating anything that's been exposed. Contaminated food and water can carry radioactive particles, so it's essential to rely on stored supplies that were kept in a safe, sealed environment. Before leaving your shelter, listen carefully to your radio. Emergency broadcasts will provide the latest updates on the situation and any new developments. Staying informed is key to making safe decisions. Authorities will provide guidance on when and how it's safe to emerge. They will have the most accurate information on radiation levels and other hazards. Follow their instructions closely to minimize your risk. They'll also let you know about any designated safe zones or evacuation routes. These areas have been identified as safer options for relocation and will have resources and support available. If you must go outside, cover up as much as possible. Protective clothing can significantly reduce your exposure to harmful particles. Ensure that all skin is covered to prevent direct contact with fallout. Wear long sleeves, pants, a hat, gloves, anything to create a barrier between your skin and the fallout particles. Layering your clothing can provide additional protection and help keep fallout from reaching your skin. A dust mask or even a damp cloth over your nose and mouth can help filter the air you breathe. This simple measure can reduce the amount of radioactive particles you inhale, which is crucial for protecting your respiratory system. Remember, fallout is invisible, but it's still dangerous. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Always assume that any dust or debris could be contaminated. Avoid touching your face or eyes. Your hands can easily transfer radioactive particles to sensitive areas, increasing the risk of contamination. And if you do come into contact with anything suspicious, remove your outer layer of clothing and wash your hands and face thoroughly as soon as possible. Decontamination is critical to reduce the risk of radiation exposure. Use soap and water to cleanse your skin and remove any particles that may have settled on you. Section 6. Knowledge is power. Preparing for the unthinkable. Surviving a nuclear blast is a daunting thought, but here's the thing, being prepared can make all the difference. And we're not talking about building a doomsday bunker in your backyard though. Hey, no judgment. Simple steps like knowing your evacuation routes, having a designated shelter in mind, and keeping a basic emergency kit handy can dramatically increase your chances of survival. Talk to your family about what to do in case of a nuclear emergency. Make sure everyone knows where to go and what to do. It's also a good idea to familiarize yourself with the different types of nuclear threats and the specific safety guidelines for your region. Remember, knowledge is power. The more you know about the risks and how to mitigate them, the better equipped you'll be to face the unthinkable. And who knows, that knowledge might just save your life one day. So stay informed, stay prepared, and remember, even in the face of the unimaginable, hope and resilience can prevail.